welcome along to the Bunch of Punts Betting Podcast, your specialist show for football long shot bets. Joining me as ever, Matthew O'Regan. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How's the arms holding up?
Yeah, still in a sling and a thingy, but yeah, I've got a consultation on Monday, so hopefully I'll find out when my surgery is after that. But I'm hanging on in there.
You need surgery. You need surgery.
Yeah, on my left thumb, because it's quite a bad fracture. Like the two fractures on my right wrist are just letting. I think they're not doing anything, but they need to do surgery on my left thumb. Yeah.
Jesus, that's terrible. Sorry to hear about that. I didn't know you needed surgery.
Nah, it'll be fine. It's only a small one.
What? Oh, it's only a little bit of surgery. Nothing major.
It'll be fine. I'll be under anaesthetic, so I won't feel a thing.
Have you been put to sleep before?
Yeah, I had jaw surgery a few years back, and so it can't get much worse than that.
I like getting put to sleep in surgery. Do you not like it? I think it's crazy.
Just listen to the podcast. It'll be the perfect job for it.
Yeah, on that, last weekend I had one winner, Millwall to win to 0. Forgettable, but you absolutely smashed it. 3 card each team, Palace Forest, 6 points. Kiembe got carded in Swansea Watford. Was that with Super Sub?
Yeah, so fucking lucky. Yeah, it was so lucky because the angle was him against Yalkue and then he got subbed off and then I didn't watch the game, but his super sub was a fullback. He got booked for time wasting, I think, in 95 minutes. It was so lucky.
We take him. Non-league, Hamel won at 3.6. Hampton won at 4.5. What a great success. So with those, the Royal Hour, it was your winners. I think we're 8.8 points up for the season. You are 7.2 points up and 1.6. So it's been a nice start. It was a turn for the worst on Lock of the Week. 2 losers. I had both teams to score, Plymouth, Blackpool. They've played since then, so it's confused me, but I think that ended 1-0 Plymouth. And then Wrexham Wednesday. Wrexham raced into a 2-goal lead and then shat their pants. Didn't do anything after that.
Disaster. Just needed 1 second off goal from them and they couldn't even manage that.
I know, and they almost lost the freaking game, the big stiff idiots.
I changed the Lock of the Week from over 2.5 goals to that angle, thinking, a nice 2-0 Wrexham win, but no. Shit cunts.
Yeah, and that is annoying because that would have won. My one that I wanted was Bromley result at County. Price went, and then I was toying between the goals in the Plymouth Blackpool game and the European, whatever you want to call it, cards in that game, Palace Forest. But I thought, I don't think it would Taylor, weren't it, the ref? I just thought, yeah, it could kick off, but I could just. There might not be anything that fucking happens. Anyway, we picked the losers, is what we're trying to say. So we'll try and pick winners this week. Lock of the week. It'll be out sometime tomorrow. Longshots, though, this weekend. Looking to build on a real successful weekend last time. What have you got for us to kick us off this weekend?
Is it non-league nerds or EFL first?
Yeah, non-league nerds, I reckon. Just a few non-league nerds, by the way.
I've got so many because it's one of them in premium I've tipped quite a lot. There's no step 3, as I mentioned earlier off there, FA Cup qualification, but step 2 and one in the National League just looks wonderful. So I'll start National League. Gateshead Aldershot. I've gone 2 bets this one, 2 goals each at 4s, and Ryan Hill to score at 5.5. Had a point on each. But yeah, this has all the makings of the weekend's most entertaining clash as 2 free scoring sides meet in Gateshead. The season's already been a rollercoaster. 3-0 defeat at home to Southend, then won 2-0 at Eastleigh, then lost 4-0 at Rochdale before a 2-1 win over Tamworth and 4-3 win at Yeovil. They were 3-0 down at half-time to Yeovil and fought back to win 4-3, so the momentum's whipped them, especially with the attacking football. Aldershot sort of followed a similar trend, losing their first 3 games 3-2 before bouncing back, beating Solihull Moors 5-1 and Morecambe 4-0. So they scored 13 goals already in 5. And yeah, the exact same fixture ended 2-2 last season. Both teams showing attacking firepower and are basically shit at the back. It should be another high-scoring encounter. And in a high-scoring encounter, it's good to look at the anytime goal-scoring market. And Ryan Hill stands out at 5.5. He's joint second top scorer in the league with 4 goals to his name already, and he's on penalty duty. So looks real value to find the net. So yeah, they're the 2 for that game. Dropping down to step 2. I've gone AFC Fylde win and both teams to score at 3.4. I'm having 1.5 points on that. I've changed my mind after looking at it. I originally had it down for 1, but changed it to 1.5. Wild, as I mentioned before, have been dominant in the National League North, never finishing below third whenever they've been in the division. And they look set for another strong campaign as they won 4 of their opening 5 matches. All 4 victories have come with AFC Fylde conceding, while their only defeat was a 2-1 loss to Scarborough, meaning both teams' scores clicked in all 5 games and winning both teams' scores clicked in 4 out of 5. They host newly promoted Bedford, who have found life tough at this level but sit just above the drop zone. They drew 2-2 at Alfreton to start the season and have since lost 3 of the last 4, though they've scored in every outing so far. Their sole win came against Telford, a 3-1 win, ensuring both teams' scores also clicked in all 5 of their matches. So you've got 2 teams who've seen both teams score in every game. Bedford struggling, Fylde on the up. So 3.4 for me just looks absolutely massive for that. So yeah, Fylde win and both teams to score. Sticking with that league, I've got 2 more from the north before going to the south. I've had half a point on Worksop win and both teams score at 5s against Chester. Worksop went up through the Northern Premier League Premier Division playoffs last season. Have settled well and currently sit mid-table in 11th. Away from home, it's been a struggle as it normally is for promoted teams. They lost 3-1 at Macclesfield and 2-1 at Redcliffe. Bounced back with a 1-0 win at Peterborough Sports. At home, they've looked solid, drawing 1-1 with tied favourites Kidderminster before seeing off struggling Southport 2-0. They face a Chester side who similarly have been strong at home but really, really poor in the road. They lost 3-0 at Chorley and 4-0 at South Shields. And last season, goals for Chester away games was something I'd take quite a lot. Yeah, I'm happy to do it again. And with Chester's vulnerability on the road and Worksop sort of momentum at home, I think 5s is a very nice price. So having half a point. And I'm on Scarborough, 3+ goals at 3.75. That's a point at home to Southport. They started really strongly, sit 4th, despite opening the season with a 1-0 defeat at Kidderminster. Since then, they've gone unbeaten, and they beat AFC Fylde 2-1, drew 2-2 away at Chorley, who have started brilliantly, and then now have won back-to-back games, 3-1 over Peterborough Sports and Merthyr Town. They welcome a struggling Southport side who have lost 4 of their first 5 matches. Their only win coming 3-1 against Southport. Otherwise, it's been tough going, losing 2-0 at Merth, 2-1 at home to Macclesfield, 2-0 at Worksop, and 3-2 at home to Fylde. I think it's like 1.8 for 2 Scarborough goals, and that's a brilliant bet considering it's landed 4 out of 5 for both teams. But obviously, for the purpose of long shot and being greedy and going over 2.5, 3.75. Now down to the south, I've gone Hemel Hempstead, Torquay, Hemel to win and both teams score at 8, half a point on that. Regular listeners of the show, especially the non-league nerds, will know I always back Hemel. I did last week because it's just always overpriced, particularly at home. They finished last season brilliantly under Lee Allenson on their own patch. I've carried that form into this campaign, drawing 1-1 at home to Maidstone and beating Dorking 2-0, 2 sides who went to the playoffs last year. Their only defeat this season was a narrow 2-1 loss at Dagenham, game in which they were undone by poor officiating. They had one of the Dagenham players did a Luis Suarez-esque handball off the line, and the line and the ref missed it. So a bit hard done by there. I think they've scored in every game and host a Torquay side who started the season brilliantly, sitting second after winning both home games, scoring 3 goals in each. But like last year, it's their away form that raises questions. They've won all 3 home games, scoring 3. But yeah, last year their away form sort of affected them going up, and it could be the same this season. Drew 1-1 at Maidstone and lost 2-1 at newly promoted Horsham. Both teams' scores landed in all 5 of their games. So given Hemel's strong record and Torquay's tendency to concede on the road, I'm happy to take 8s for Hemel and both teams to score. Then I've got Hornchurch to beat Chippenham and both teams to score. So familiar theme with a lot of my picks. That's at 3.5. Hornchurch are a team I'm on at 40-1 to win the league, and they've won 4 of their first 5. They beat Weston-super-Mare 3-2, Eastbourne Borough 2-1, Enfield away 1-0, Farnborough at home 3-1, before drawing 3-3 at Salisbury, squandering a 3-1 lead at half-time. Both teams' scores clicked in 4 of the 5, with the exception away at Enfield, who have only scored once in 5 this season. So yeah, they've got good form for it. And they host a Chippenham side in 19th, who last season were a team I liked for goals, and this season they've been alright. They drew 2-2 at home to Dorking, 1-0 away at Ebbsfleet they lost, before back-to-back 2-1 losses against Chippenham and Chelmsford, before scraping past Worthing 1-0. Both teams' score has landed in 3 of 5, and they've scored in 4 of 5, so certainly goals in this one. I'm siding with Hornchurch, who are currently top at 3.5. I've had half a point on Tonbridge to beat Farnborough at 4.2. Farnborough were a team I thought would sort of do well this season, and have struggled after opening the season 1-1 draw at Eastbourne. They've lost 3 of the next 4 to Hornchurch, Weston-super-Mare and Chesham, conceded 3 in all, so defensively it's not looking good. Spent 2 days under a lot of pressure. The style of football's been poor, and their only win came again at home to Worthing, who have struggled this season, 1-0. And Tonbridge aren't much better. They're 1 point behind them in 22nd, having not won a game yet, which doesn't bode well for the bet, but drew 0-0 at home to Slough, 2-2 at Dagenham, and drew 0-0 at Chesham. The 2 losses away at Totton and away at Dorking, losing 3-0 and 4-1. So the 2 home games both have been 0-0. I just think very low margin against a Farnborough side who was struggling. I always say gun to my head as if a random person's going to put my gun to my head and make me predict the National South, but just 4.2 is just too big for a team at home against a Farnborough side who have lost both away games, conceded 3 in both. So you have half a point at 4.2, and then I've gone for doubles. Worthing, Maidstone and Slough Enfield. I've gone under 2.5 goal double, a point on that at 3.42. Under 1.5 goal double at 11.9, half a point, and 0 goals in both games at 72.25, another half point on that. Worthing were a team I've always backed for goals in, so it might be weird to you who don't really watch non-league football. But yeah, Worthing have been really, really poor this season. They lost Cashman, but there's more to it than that. I don't know. I get to the manager, same manager as last season, but he's decided to go 5 at the back, 5-3-2 with inverted wing backs, and it just crowds the midfield. They're going insistent on playing Temi Babiola up front, who's not a goal scorer, playing long to him, so he's completely changed the style of play, and it's just to their detriment. They started with a 1-1 draw at Bath before a dramatic 4-3 win at Horsham. Since then, they haven't scored, losing 1-0 at Farnborough and Chippenham, and drawing 0-0 at home to Enfield. And those 3 teams, Chippenham, Enfield and Farnborough, are 19th, 20th and 24th. So failing to score against Enfield is a real bummer. I was at the Enfield game, the 0-0, and it was the worst game of football I've ever watched. It was an unrecognisable Worthing side. They were just shocking, and they just couldn't break it down. And the same for Maidstone. Maidstone are complaining about how poor they've been this season. All 5 of their games have seen under 2.5 goals, but the opening 3 seeing 2 goals, and a 1-0 win at Totton and a 0-0 draw at Chelmsford. So both teams are struggling for confidence in front of goal. Both have been relatively solid defensively. So 2 teams who should be in the top 7 come end of season should just be a slog. And then you've got Slough, 16th, who again last season were good for goals, but this season are struggling. 7 goals in 5 games combined. They've drawn 0-0 at Tonbridge before losing 1-0 and 2-0 to Dorking and Hemel. Beat Ebbsfleet 2-0 and drew 1-1 at Slough. So all 5 games have seen under 2.5 goals. Their games have been really low scoring, and Enfield have only seen 6 in 5. They've drawn 0-0 at Worthing at home to Maidenhead, lost 1-0 at home to Totton and Hornchurch, and lost 3-1 to Torquay on open day. So they've only scored 1 goal as well. So just 4 teams really with really, really low scoring games. So yeah, the under 2.5, 1.5 and under 0.5 goal doubles are worth a play. And yeah, that's it for non-league nerds. Sorry for waffling on, but there was a lot to get through.
Don't you dare apologise. I was just looking then, is that 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, I think. 12 non-league nerd picks. That's got to be a new personal best. Did you have a good weekend or something in National League last time out?
No, it was mixed really, but it's just this slate just looks wonderful. There's so many bets I'm on that aren't long shots as well in my premium. So it's just one of them where I looked at the slate and I was like, we were saying the EFL slate's not that good, so I delved even deeper to non-league. I'm sure next weekend it'll be a shit slate, but when it's a big slate, good slate like this, I sort of want to take advantage of it. And step 2 has been probably my most profitable in non-league, so it's good to go in on it until all of these lose.
This will not be beaten. 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 It's going to get beaten.
Wunderbar. Right, Naps, next best long shots now into the EFL. You just said about how bad of a slate it is. I felt like this was a bit of a grind, because usually you'll make notes it's just after the football you've just watched for the next week, and you'll look at the slate and there'll be a couple of bets glaringly obvious. But apart from a couple of things that I've liked for a long time, there were nothing new, nothing stood out for me. Did you find it the same in EFL?
Yeah, like all the 3 bets I've got are sort of basically angles I always go down. I enjoy finding new niche angles in the EFL, but this week I was like, oh fuck this! It was a honking slate, so I've just sort of gone, tried and tested.
Samesies. I don't mean like the bets I'm putting forward. I've put money on them all. I like them, but there's a lot of repeats and a lot of stuff you'll have heard about before. So first 2, I'm going Xhaka card in the Prem. Obviously that's not EFL. I'm sticking with it. 15-4 again. And there's a massive disparity in his prices across different bookmakers. 365 are pretty much out on their own with this price, but because it's such a well, it's not that sound anymore, but because it's one of the good ones, only just still is, I think it's worth tipping. I think he's done like 1.5 tackles, 1.5 fouls per game. So I'm prepared that I might get proved wrong, but just because he's so much short everywhere else in his track record, I still think this is a point and a bit too big. So I'm sticking with Xhaka card. They play Sunderland host Brentford, and then Bristol City play Hull, and I'm doing Twine outside the box again. Half a point on each of these. Twine's 12s, I think. 365. Is it 8 of his 16 championship goals have come from range? More than half of his shots have come from range. He scored, was it last Friday when I tipped him, but it was a yard or so inside the box. But he had a free kick that I thought was destined for the top corner, but the keeper saved it. So I'm going to keep riding this one for a bit. And last week I tipped it against Derby. I haven't done any digging on Hull, but I'm just looking at the squad. They've got Lundstrom, McBurney, Crooks, Egan, like pure Sheffield United old XI, apart from Crooks obviously, but I'm looking at the performance they're putting against Coventry, dug their heels in. They are capable of eking out a result, and I don't know, it's just a hunch, but they might invite shots from range. Like I say, I haven't really looked into it. It's more about Twine's price and the start to the seasons he's made. So those are the couple of repeats. Where are you taking us next?
Norwich, Blackburn host Norwich, and I've gone Norwich win and both teams to score at 6. Again, a standard sort of boring bet I do. But yeah, Norwich made a start to the season, offering 2-1 back-to-back. Well, not back-to-back, but they've lost both home games 2-1 against Millwall and Borough. Away from Carrow Road, though, they've been better, recording 2-1 win at Portsmouth in the league and the same scoreline against Watford in the Cup. Both teams have scored in 4 of Norwich's 5 matches across all competitions, including 3 of their league fixtures. They face the Blackburn side I'm really not keen on, and especially under Ismail, and they sit just above Norwich on goal difference. But yeah, they've also had a mixed start. They opened with a 1-0 defeat at West Brom, and they lost 2-1 at home to Birmingham, conceding twice late on. They bounced back with a convincing 3-0 win at Hull. So yeah, Blackburn seem to play better on the road. Norwich seem to play better on the road, and Norwich on the road. So at 6s, I sort of think it's a point or so too big for Norwich to win the voting score. So yeah, I'm taking that at 6s.
I like it. Next Championship. Ipswich are at home. And I've tipped this before, when Ipswich play at home in the Championship, based on the promotion season, it means goals. I'll not bore you with all the spiel I said last time, but in 23-24, they averaged 3.95 goals at home, 74% went over 2.5, and 43% went over 4.5. So they played Derby, and I think best price 7-1, 365 for over 4.5 goals. It's a long shot. I think it's worth doing. I do it purely based on Ipswich, but Derby's start to the season has been encouraging. They've been uncharacteristically poor defensively for a John Eustace side. They lost 5-3 against Coventry, lost 3-1 against Stoke, so it clicked in that defeat against Coventry, went within a goal in that defeat at home, I think it was against Stoke. Underlying data is not that great in that it's like says that they've been unfortunate to concede as many as they have, but I think they've shipped 5.1 XG according to who is it? FootMob, which is still like 5th worst in the division. So I think this game stinks of goals. It might be worth taking a shorter line, but I think the 4.5 one's the best value based on Ipswich, how batshit crazy they were at home last time in the league. This time around, they've only played Southampton, I think, at home. Ended 1-1, 2 goals in the first half, and it felt like the way both teams were playing that there should have been more goals. But for whatever reason, they just weren't in the second half. Yeah, I'm just looking. Ipswich have been away at Preston and Birmingham. Two tough assignments based on what we've seen of both teams so far. So I'm looking forward to seeing them let loose at home. Hopefully that's the case. Over 4.5 goals when they host Derby, 7-1. Bet 365, probably one of my favourite bets on the slate. Where are you taking us next?
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Championship and the win and both teams score. I've got Millwall and both teams score at 4.33 against Wrexham. Sort of, you backed Millwall win to nil against Sheffield United on the pod. I also had I sort of not nabbed it off you, but took inspiration from you and used it in my odds checker long shot column and backclicked. So going against that sort of seems a bit random after last week, but the sale of Japhet Tanganga will significantly weaken the Lions' defence, and they also play Wrexham, who are batshit crazy for goals. They're still searching for their first league win, despite drawing 3-3 against Hull and winning on pens and beating Preston 3-2 in the Cup. They lost 2-1 to Southampton, 3-2 to West Brom, and squandered a 2-goal lead in a 2-2 draw with Sheffield Wednesday. All 5 of their games have seen both teams scoring over 2.5 goals. All beat Norwich 2-1, lost 3-0 to Borough, but it's a game that could have swung either way after watching the highlights. So yeah, 2 of Mill's 3 games in over 2.5, and landing all 5 Wrexham games, including the Cup. I think 4.33 is too big, especially considering Japhet Tanganga has now left Alex Neil's side.
No, I get it, and it. I don't know about you, but like Millwall away at United just stunk of a win to nil. The price was too big, but I don't think Millwall are this like they're not as like this the cliched nasty, boring like low margin team anymore. Neil's just made them better,
which is weird because Neil's quite a pragmatic manager, I'd say as well. So you'd think Neil at Millwall would be a pragmatic sort of match made in heaven, and the bookies keep pricing it as if it is, but I don't think. But with the side, I think he's realised the talent he's got with Aziz Ivanovic and I can't pronounce the other winger name, the Dutch fella. Like they've got such good attacking quality. I think Neil sort of realised that and sort of giving them the freedom to play.
100%. I've got a couple of centre-back goal scorers. Again, first one Championship, second one League One. I'll rattle them both off together. And first one is about Sheffield Wednesday. Obviously, their campaign's pretty much written off, but it's been surprised to see how many goals they've conceded from set pieces. 3 of 7, I think, this season. Kiefer Moore scored from 1 in that game we just talked about against Wrexham, and then Yannick Vestergaard and Wout both got. I think Wout Vesters was from a corner, Vestergaard was from a free kick. But it's just why I think it's worth having a look at Swansea's centre-backs. They're not notoriously good at set pieces, but Cameron Burgess is 20-1, and that's with Bet365, and it just sort of jumped off the sheet as a standout price. He's got 12 goals in his career, 2 coming at this level, which is a 0.5 goals per 90, and that literally equates to this price. Maybe I think it might equate to 19-1, 20. I can't remember. I should have made a note of it, and I can't work it out off the top of my head. His price is probably fair, but that's without considering Wednesday. I'm not sold on their emergency loan keeper either, although it would have been better if Charles was in net because he's not the biggest. Either way, keeper's still looking like a dodgy position for Wednesday. Burgess is, like I say, 12 goals, so he's not exactly prolific. That's why his price is big enough. But he is averaging 0.6 shots per 90 across the last 3 seasons, and he's racked up an XG of 3.2. So I think there's plenty of juice in this 20-1 goal scorer price at Hillsborough. And then in League One, Burton play Luton. Now, Burton aren't the best at defending set pieces, but this is more about Luton. They've scored 5 goals this term, 3 from set pieces. They were one of the best set piece sides in the Championship last season, despite the relegation. I think they scored 17. XG of 19.1, 0.2-ish, I think, which was one of the best in the division. Burton, they've conceded 9 shots from set pieces this term, which is the second most in League One. 2 of their 6 goals come from set pieces as well. I think, is it Cargill at Mansfield? He scored from a corner against them, and they conceded 19 of 66 from set pieces last season. So again, they're not absolutely terrible, but Luton are really good. So I have gone 11-1 Sky Bet Mark McGuinness to score any time. 5 goals last 2 seasons. 2 shots, 1 on target in his last appearance. Did Luton pay £8 million for him from Cardiff?
Yeah, something stupid, yeah.
They paid a lot of money for him to be a top-end Championship centre-back, and now he's in League One. He didn't immediately start the season. I don't know if he was injured or something, but he's starting in the middle of a back three last couple of games. I don't know if there's something with Mads Anderson. I wish I had more information for you, but yeah, I think he was the standout price. He just is such a threat. But yeah, those are my 2 centre backs. Swansea, it is Cameron Burgess to score 20-1, 365 at Wednesday, and then Mark McGuinness to score for Luton in League One. That's 11-1 Sky Bet at Burton. What have you got? You've got 1 bet left, haven't you? Yes, a couple of bets left.
One like non-millionaire punt bet, yeah. Whilst you've been talking, I've also found another long shot double for us.
Oh, hello.
I'll leave that to the end of the show. But yeah, I've gone Coventry over 2.5 and over 3.5 goals, a point on the over 2.5 at 4s, and half a point on the over 2.5 at 10s. That there at Oxford, it might be reactionary after I was in the away end at Oxford yesterday, as they were dismantled 6-0 by Brighton, especially given it was Brighton's second team and Hurst played 5 at the back. But Oxford still got battered. Yeah, something just feels off with the Yellows under Rowett. At the atmosphere, I know Brighton aren't a big draw for Oxford. Stadium wasn't full, atmosphere was shit and flat, and it sort of that reflects on the Twitter fans as well. A lot of them have been complaining. Yeah, something feels off, and I think the pressure is on Rowett to get a result against Cov. They've lost all 3 league games so far, and whilst they only lost 1-0 to Pompey and Birmingham especially could have scored a lot more. They also lost 3-2 at Hull thanks to a late McBurney strike. So yeah, they're really, really struggling this year. And Coventry, by contrast, are unbeaten with 2 wins and a draw from the opening fixtures. Drew 0-0 at home to Hull, which was quite unusual for them. And they failed to convert any of their 18 chances on 1.43 XG. But they quickly bounced back, smashed Derby 5-3 before dismantling QPR 7-1. I know that I'm big on my data, and they massively outperform their data on XG on these, but I still really rate Coventry, especially against Oxford. They look back to their free-flowing best, and I think if they score an early goal, I can see them pummeling them, scoring 3 or 4. So yeah, 3 goals at 4s for a point, and 4 goals at 10s for half a point.
I like it. It's just so unlike Rowett, and every side he's had to be so shit defensively. What is going on there?
They were absolutely dive. I know, like, I was worried before kick-off when I saw our team, but then after like 20 minutes, when we were like 1 or 2 up, I was like, I forgot the quality difference between the Premier and Championship is ridiculous. But Oxford just looked miles off it. They were absolutely diabolical.
I know. I like them picks a lot. Last bet for the section then, because we've got loads. I should have said this at the top of the show. We've got loads of long shots lined up. So my last pick, Newport head to Cambridge. I'm doing Newport draw no bet again. Best price 5.2. Paddy Power a point on that. I should say all of the other bets I've said. So I'll recap them at the end. But they're all half a point plays. This one's the point play. I've just been suckered in by Newport, but I don't think anyone can blame me. They are 6-1 best price to win the game at the time of recording. And for context, they went off slightly shorter at home to MK Dons and ever so slightly shorter as well, actually, at Grimsby. Now, Grimsby, for my opinion, the best side in League 2 so far this season. MK Dons were the anti-post favourites for the title. I think they still are. They lost both games 2-1, fair enough. But the clash against MK Dons was the favourites for the title against the favourites for relegation. And there was only like 0.05 an XG between the pair. Newport went ahead. That was a bad bit of goalkeeping. But the equaliser was a very dubious penalty. And there just wasn't very much between the two sides at all. I know that was at Newport's ground. So take that with a pinch of salt. But the defeat against the Mariners, Grimsby, for me, the best side in League 2 at the minute. Maybe Crew might have something to say about that, but I don't know. I think all the games you've got, I just think Grimsby has been the most impressive side so far. But that game, although they were outplayed, first goal for Grimsby was an own goal, and then they didn't win it until the 4th minute of injury time. So real tight contest with the two, and the anti-post favourite and the best side in the league. And then in the meantime, I think Crawley beat Newport beat Crawley at 4-1. They also drew with Notts County, and I think they went off around 7-2. So I just think they're too big this weekend. Again, money back if they do draw. Neil Harris has had a amazing, impressive start to the campaign. I was worried about where the goals would come from, but they haven't really had any trouble scoring. All the match reports of opposition who have played Grimsby have said, yeah, smash and grab. Not Grimsby, sorry, Newport, smash and grab. But I just think this price is too big again. Based on what I've seen so far in Newport this season, maybe they're going to be better than we suspect. So money back if it ends all square. But yeah, Newport, draw no bet 5.2 at Cambridge is the last bet of this section.
Keep punting! Keep fucking punting! YTP, baby!
Longshots then. What have you got for us? Because you got lots of them.
Yeah, so obviously you mentioned the under doubles, so bit more fun doubles this time. Hornchurch and Fylde to win and both teams to score at 11.9, quarter points on that. Going Hornchurch, Hemel, Worksop and Fylde all to win and both teams to score at 476 for 0.1 points, so that's combining a lot of the non-league plays. I've also combined Norwich win and both teams score, Millwall win and both teams score, and Coventry over 3.5 goals. Can't remember what odds that treble was now. We've got to write it down.
260.
Yep, having 0.1 point on that, not 1 point, 0.1. And then, whilst Jimmy was giving his Scott Twine reasoning, I had a genius thought, not really a genius thought, but I also like Segovic from Pompey to score from outside the box at 11. So the double is, I can't remember what the double is, I've lost it, but it would be nice to combine for a pod long shot as we haven't done one for a while. So I was thinking doubling the two, we can make it like a 0.2 point play or something, have 0.1 point on each. It was 100 and brain's not working today, 140s I think. I'll double check now.
Yep. Double check for us because I like it a lot.
My brain's all foggy at the moment, but yes, I will check. Goal method, outside the box. But yeah, 0.2 on it. Twine's 13s. Segovic was 11s, I think. That's Pompey at home to Preston, sorry, I should have said. He scored outside the box away at Oxford and at home to Norwich. So he's already scored twice from outside the box. So it looks a lovely price at 11s if I can find him. 143. The double is. So yeah, I reckon quarter point on that for the pod, 0.1 point each.
Lovely, that's in the record. What a lovely way to round it off. Before we go, are you alright just to recap us your selections, please?
Yeah, so from non-league, I've gone 2 goals each in Gateshead Aldershot at 4s and Ryan Hill to score at 5.5, that's a point each. AFC Fylde to beat Bedford and both teams score 3.4, that's 1.5 points. Half a point on Worksop to beat Chester, both teams score at 5s. 1 point on Scarborough to score over 2.5 goals at 3.75 against Southport. Half a point on Hemel win and both teams score at 8 against Torquay. Point on Hornchurch win and both teams score at 3.5 against Chippenham. Half a point on Tonbridge Angels to beat Farnborough at 4.2. Point on under 2.5 goals double in Worthing, Maidstone and Slough Enfield. Half a point on the under 1.5 double at 11.9 and half a point on the no goals at 72.25. Long shot way, I've gone Hornchurch and Fylde win and both teams score double at 11.9, quarter point on that. Hornchurch, Hemel, Worksop, Fylde win and both teams to score at 476, 0.1 point on that. Then EFL have gone Norwich win and both teams score at 6. Millwall win both teams score at 4.3. Coventry over 2.5 goals, a point on that, and over 3.5 goals, half a point on that, 4s and 10s. Trebled the Coventry 4 goals and the win and both teams score for Millwall and Norwich for 0.1 point. We've also had 0.2 points on Segovic for Portsmouth and Twine for Bristol City. Goal outside the box at 143s.
Yeah, we sure have, buddy. My bets, Xhaka card again, 15-4, half point on that. Sunderland, Brentford in the Prem. Scott Twine outside the box again. Bristol City versus Hull, that's at 12-1. Bet365 half point on that. Ipswich v Derby over 4.5 goals, 7-1 best price at the minute with 365. Half a point on that again. Worth pointing out actually, have a look on the Betfair exchange when there's some liquidity on this market, because you usually get a chunk bigger if you can. Wednesday v Swansea, Burgess any time, that's at 20-1, Bet365 half point on that. League One, Burton v Luton, Mark McGuinness any time, that's at 11-1 Sky Bet, half a point on that. And then Cambridge and Newport, I'm doing Newport draw no bet, that's at 5.2 with Paddy Power, and I'm having a point on that. It's international break next week. I'm not sure how long it lasts. It might be 10 days or something, fuck knows. But we'll be back regardless, won't we? Because there's plenty of non-league and there'll be some EFL games left. We'll be back.
Yeah. What I completely forgot to say, for the Norwich and Mill bets, Bet Builder, so you get the early payout. But that should be common knowledge now for regular listeners. But for those who aren't regular listeners, Bet Builder, the winner voting to score from the EFL for early payout.
Yeah, boy. Right, so as I say, we'll be back sometime next week. In the meantime, best of luck with all your picks, and we'll catch you on the Flippity Flip.